Yeah. So just gonna check the group and make sure that we're live in the group.
Okay.
Okay, I do not see our live. Do you?
I see it.
You do?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yep. It's a
I
little
will.
bit delayed, but that's okay.
Yeah. Oh, yay, I see it now too. Okay.
All right. So there we go. Let me close out of it so we're not hearing ourselves in the background.
Yeah, I muted it on mine.
Yeah.
Just gonna keep it open in case we get um, comments, which always ends up making me like look one way instead of
Right.
like
I
at the
know.
camera.
Straight at the camera. Yep. Same here. So, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. I've been pretty tired, but I'm coping with that. How are you? I know you just went on a hike.
Yes, I had a hike this morning. I had one last week, but I had one this morning, which ended up working out for me because the person that was supposed to be doing the tour didn't show up,
Oh no.
which is fine. I mean, it's always disappointing when someone doesn't show up, which doesn't really happen very often. It's usually like they can't find the place, so we get started late or something like that. But um,
Mhm.
so I just ended up doing it by myself, which was fine because I got to stop and go to all my favorite trees and meditate and write and do all that other stuff that you can't do when you're doing a tour. So yeah,
Well, that's good. That
that was good. Yeah.
sounds like
But
you made the most of it.
yeah, and before the rain, which was nice.
Yes,
This-
indeed.
yeah. But I feel you with the tired because I've been tired too. Just like I don't know if it's the weather. We've had a lot of rain, so like we'll get these periods of sunshine and then it will just downpour
Hmm.
and it's wind and lightning and thunder. And so I don't know if it's just because of the weather or I don't know what it is. Kids were back to school. I'm just exhausted.
Oh. Well, hopefully they have a great first week back.
Yes. Yes, they did. They did. Oh, and you were saying you were tired.
Yes, I got results back from my sleep study and my nap study,
Hmm.
and it was helpful. I don't. I'm just going through CPAP therapy now because I have mild sleep apnea, and
Okay.
I also have a condition that is rare called idiopathic hypersomnia, and it's close to narcolepsy. And I'm a little nervous about telling people that, but I mean, it's been challenging. But I'm
Yeah.
here. I slept quite a bit earlier, and my doctor's like, "You gotta try to cut out those naps. I know it's hard," and I'm like, "Oh." But
Cut
it's
out the
been
naps
good.
so that you
Yeah.
can sleep all night, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard. I know. I try. I don't always nap during the day, but when I can't get to sleep at night because, with the perimenopause, some nights it's just like, well, I'm not sleeping. So I'm just up and
Oh.
even though like I'm tired, I went to bed, I was tired, but then like I just can't sleep. So, um I will stop during the day and, do a longer lunch break and take a nap during the lunch break.
Yeah.
So, that'll help.
That's a good idea.
So,
And I saw that Kaja joined us, so I just thanked
oh,
her for
nice.
joining us in the chat. But yeah, those breaks they help. You definitely need to just know your body and know what you need, and we're both pretty good at that.
Yes, yeah, I think that yeah, I mean, even if I like, go one way, I try to rein that back in,
Mhm.
like okay, you're doing too much here. You need to just figure out what's going on and take a step back and um prioritize. So,
Exactly. And speaking of doing too much, that's something that can cause a lot of stress in life. So, do you have anything that you want to say about de stressing or reducing stress?
Yeah. So, we all have stress. It's just a natural part of life. But when we get to the point where we have so much stress that it can cause anxiety, it can
Mhm.
cause, actually, I was doing some research on it, and it was saying that chronic stress, like prolonged stress, can not only does it affect mood and, you can give you anxiety, but then it also reduces decision making skills. And
Oh.
so that you're not, it actually shrinks the part of the brain where you have those higher cognitive functions. And can cause you to have, like a shorter temper, not make appropriate decisions. And I don't know if you've ever noticed, like, if you have someone in your life who just always kind of seems frazzled, and then you're like wondering, well, but you're already stressed out. Why would you do that too? And it's
Mhm.
because the stress is causing you to make poor decisions.
Oh,
It
wow.
literally, like, really affects. I mean, I kind of, like, on a whole, I figured, oh, well, stress affects mood. It could affect decision making, but I was thinking more like, oh, like forgetfulness and stuff like that. But I
Yeah.
didn't realize that it could actually cause you just to make just poor life decisions in general. So in that way, stress is like an addiction,
Oh,
kind of.
wow.
Yeah. Like it kind of affects your brain the same way, which was really
Hmm.
I guess eye opening for me.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we think when we're thinking about our bodies and how we care for ourselves, something like stress, we just kind of figure, well, this is just life.
Mhm.
This is, I just have to deal with it. But actually, it's really detrimental. So it
For
really
sure.
is something that, yeah, that we should care for. So, I mean, one of my major ways of de stressing is walking
Mhm.
and exercising. I love, like, exercising does really help with my stress levels, and
Mhm.
hiking. I like hiking too, just like connecting with nature. And I have some other ways, but what are some ways that you like to de-stress?
Well, I like your ways of distressing, and thanks for telling us about the decision making. That I didn't know, but when you think
Yeah.
about it, it makes sense because that would be like the prefrontal cortex, right?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
Um, yeah, and I feel you on the forgetfulness. That's definitely something that I've been dealing with for a long time.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. It's like to go from having a memory where you remember like every single line in Shrek or Friends and then being like,
Right.
what did I
What?
do earlier today?
It's
um,
hard.
yeah. And I've been dealing with stress as it is because I work full time, which I'm thankful for. So thankful for that.
Mhm.
I'm going to school, so I just finished a class last night, and now
Yay.
I'm off for a little while. So thankful for that. And I'm doing like my coaching business mentor thing, so
Mhm.
trying to learn from that, and it's fun. But again, it's just more responsibilities.
Yeah.
So a good thing to do is before you notice that the stress is starting to pile on, just don't be a yes person. And that can be difficult, especially for people
Yeah.
pleasers.
Mhm.
So just don't fill your plate so much to where okay, this is past my capacity, or I really don't have the time for this. So learn to set those boundaries and say no or ask to reschedule.
Yes.
So, one
Mhm.
of my things is to reduce stress before you add it to your life. But also, I feel like a broken record. Meditation is very
Yeah.
helpful. I was having a really hard day a few days ago, and I listened to my 5 minutes of self compassion or 5 minutes of compassion meditation. And I also listened to one about just letting go of the stress and just feeling at peace. And
Mhm.
I was quite calm at the end where I almost fell asleep. I was like, okay, we don't need to be that relaxed. um, And then, of course, just going outside. Now that I'm done with school for a little bit again, I get to go outside and sit on the swing. So I love that nature aspect that you do as well.
Mhm.
I don't get it as often anymore, so you're definitely someone to aspire to when it comes to that. And just being realistic about your feelings, being realistic about where I am, in a sense of, okay, I have this going on, I also have that, this is something I'd like to do, but prioritizing.
Yeah.
So again, we're not overwhelming ourselves, and that is something that I've had to work on multiple times, because I'm like, okay, I want to work and I want to finish school and I want to do this coaching thing.
Right. Right.
So it's a lot, and then you have your hobbies too.
Yes. Yeah. So I like to write, of course. And I like to paint, and then I like to do some woodworking. So right now I am working on a painting. And it takes me a while to finish one because the idea, it's so weird. I don't know, maybe this happens to you too.
I
Like
love weird.
yeah. The idea will come into my mind and it'll just kind of be in there for, I don't know, a couple of weeks. Like, oh, like this time it was something, it was about mushrooms. And I just kept thinking about mushrooms. And I would read articles about mushrooms. And then all of a sudden it was just like, I should draw some mushrooms. And so I started looking at pictures of mushrooms. And then finally I'm like, oh, okay, I think I need to paint this. So I did the sketch and I started painting it in. And then I wanted, because I use acrylics, but I wanted very vibrant color. And sometimes it's hard to get vibrant color with acrylic after it dries
Hmm.
because like it gets a little bit, what's the word? Dulled.
Yeah.
So I had to, so I stopped and I did a couple of like YouTube tutorials, and I have to go to Michael's or Hobby Lobby or wherever and get a certain kind of paint and mix the colors a certain way. And I'm like, okay, so I'm working on that. And then I'm working on I guess they're, I guess like charcuterie boards is what you would call them,
Cool.
um, or cutting boards. I mean, they're cutting boards, but they're just boards. You can use them to serve things on. So I have a couple of those walnut ones, and I got a grinder to grind it down and work on that. But even like my hobbies can sometimes stress me out
Oh.
because like what I do is, so I'm part of this homesteading group, and they asked me to be a vendor, with my,
That's
which is
awesome.
great, for my sugar scrubs and my wood stuff. But like now I have to like make more so I have enough to sell. And usually like when I make things like that, it's just kind of like, oh, we were working in the yard and I saw, this tree had to come down, but the wood is still good. So
Mhm.
that's where I got the walnut wood for, and that's where I got the idea to make the cutting board. So in a way, almost like being a vendor kind of made it from a hobby to a job. So
Uh,
that's
yeah.
where your being not be a yes person comes in, because I wish I had been like, mm, maybe I'll pass this year on that, maybe next time, but it's okay. It's fine. Um, and I think writing down things. I read something, they were like, you can put anything on your to-do list. You can
Mhm.
write, wake up, brush your teeth, make your bed. And you can put anything on your to-do list and then cross it off and then have that like feeling of satisfaction that you
Mhm.
did it. So um just writing things down that you will be able to get to, so that you can have those like check marks and all the little wins, check
Yeah.
marking those things off. And then I keep like a box where I put ideas in. So
Oh.
that way I don't feel guilty about like, oh, I'm putting this aside. I'm not doing this right now. I've given up on my dream. I put it in the box, and then like every few months I open it up and I look and see what's in the box. And then see if this is something I can take on right now, and if not, it goes back in the box. But then I feel like it was validated, the thought was there, and so
Mhm.
at least it's not just like floating out there forgotten.
Mhm. I like that. I'm a fan of lists too and crossing things off. And a couple things you said, I don't want to forget. So I had a planner that I thought was really interesting because it had a section called the to not do list. And
Oh.
it was so effective to put things on there. I can't remember exactly what it was, but a lot of things were about work because work is usually what stresses me out the most. And then when I was in school, school is what stresses me out more too. So I would put things in there like, uh, gosh, I can't think of anything right now, but say maybe to not say yes to everything. You could put
Right.
that in your to not to do list.
Hmm.
And when you were talking about the acrylics, you're familiar with my mom's paintings that I share
Yes.
every once in a while,
Hmm.
right? Okay. Well, I'm gonna tell you something that she does. She uses an acrylic undercoat and then she goes in and paints with oils on top of it. So the acrylic
Oh.
dries quickly. It's usually because it's usually thinner and, like you said, not as vibrant. Some of them, and then the oil you can really layer with, and they're more vibrant. They take longer to dry, so you can work with them a little bit longer. So I don't
Yeah.
know if maybe that will work for you.
Oh, that's a great idea because I do have oils and I have not using it. I've been afraid to like use oils. I'm like, I'm gonna ruin it. But I
Just
like that idea. Yeah.
now, are
That's
you doing those on the cutting boards too, or the charcuterie boards, or is that different?
so that I'm doing on canvas. Now I have
Okay.
painted on wood. And so today I was going to go and take out my wood oil and see what it looks like if I just do like a layer of wood oil on top of it. And of course, then that
Okay.
wouldn't be really for like eating on, but you could use that to like serve something
Yeah.
up. Yeah. So because I don't I mean they say acrylic paint's non-toxic, but I don't know
Hmm.
that I want paint in my food. So
Right, right. Oil definitely would be.
right, yeah.
But I just wasn't sure because, like, I knew that you were working on those, and then you were talking about painting, and then you were talking about mushrooms, and like it kind of tied together in my head.
Nope, that's all right. That's how it is. It sounds like an Alice in Wonderland episode. So, yeah. But yeah, I like that. The not to do list.
Mhm.
Yes, because sometimes I have to tell myself you are not cooking today. You're not cooking today. It's okay to have something in a box every once in a while.
Yeah,
So,
I like
because
your
yeah.
box idea. Something tangible that you can see and feel.
Mhm.
I just
Yeah.
thought of something for the to like not put yourself down. I think that's probably something I had in there. Hmm.
I like that. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think it's important. It's so easy to be self-deprecating, I think.
Hmm.
Um, I was in a meeting this morning and we were kind of talking about like doing an inventory and like how important it is to first do the qualities that you see in yourself that are good. And because it's so hard sometimes to write down a good quality. And for every quality that you feel like you need to work on or something that's negative, that you have to write something positive too, even about that quality. So, you know, I think that's important too, like really being able to, and not in like a prideful way, but just in a way that helps to motivate you to keep moving and to keep moving forward, you know. Um,
Hmm.
like I'll even hear sometimes like my parents or somebody will say, "Oh, I did this so stupid. I can't believe I'm such an idiot." And I'm just like,
Hmm.
"Oh," I just cringe when I hear that because it's like, "No, you're not. People make mistakes. I mean, people do, things that are not um, everyone's going to drop something sometimes, or you're going to forget something sometimes." Um,
Hmm.
we have to think about for every one time or two times or three times that we've forgotten something or did something wrong, there's like
Hmm.
80 something times that we did it right.
Exactly.
you know? Yeah. And I think that we tend to focus on the negative because it feeds into that um, haptic feedback loop of the brain
Mhm.
where your brain is stressed and so it's just trying to pull in more of that. It just gets like in a loop instead of
Mhm.
stopping it. It doesn't feel good, but we still keep doing it because it's producing a chemical that the brain's like, okay, well, let's keep producing this chemical. This is how we produce it, by being stressed. Yeah.
Like that addiction that you were talking
Yes.
about, the stress addiction.
Yes. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
That's
And how you were talking about that, you're not stupid, you're not an idiot. In that group that I mentioned earlier, I always think I'm a pretty, positive person, yet realistic. But I do joke at my own expense a lot. And one of the people in the group, because like I said, I was a weirdo or something, or I was being weird, and she thought that was a negative thing. Granted, she's from a different country, but I was like, oh no, weird's like expressing yourself and being unique. To me, weird's not a bad thing. So I just thought that was interesting, and I try not to say it in that group because I don't want them to think I'm putting myself down, but it's just like,
right.
no, that's just something that's usual to me.
Right.
And when it comes to like putting yourself down, I went to this beautiful outdoor mall with my friend Ashley um, last weekend, maybe. And for whatever reason, it may have been, the trouble sleeping and whatnot. I had such a hard time focusing on what she was talking to me about, remembering what I was saying, and stringing together a sentence. So I was even just a little apprehensive about going live and being like, oh no, what if that happens on the live? So I think it was good the way we started, just talking about, yeah, I'm tired, this is why.
Right. Yes. Yep. And sometimes we have to take those times just to accept we're in a place that's maybe not ideal for us, but
Mhm.
just accept that that's where we are now. It doesn't mean that it's permanent or forever because
Mhm.
things are constantly changing. Um, and then just having that ability to be patient with ourselves. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, I think I can get impatient with myself a lot. It's like, you should
Yeah.
be doing this or you should be doing that, and but sometimes it's just no. I mean, if I'm tired or if I'm feeling this way, um, it's my body telling me in as gentle a way as possible it's time to relax, take some time, do something for yourself, journal, meditate. Meditating is a big one. um,
Mhm.
go for a walk, because then the next thing that's going to come is not going to be so gentle. I'm going to get sick, or I'm going to be distracted and I'm going to trip and fall, or people don't realize like how much like just even stuff like that is can be due to like a mental state because your body is just tired. And so
Mhm.
your joints and your ligaments and your muscles are not working together the way they're supposed to be, um, because we're stressed out. And so all of that, from bad decision making to our body then starts to exhibit the signs of that stress in different ways as well.
Yeah.
So it really is important for us to kind of notice those symptoms, I guess symptoms right like, as
Mhm.
early as possible. And so it would be good to talk about like, because sometimes I don't know that I'm stressed out right away,
Mhm.
but I start to feel certain things. So what does that look like for you?
Um, it's a little embarrassing, but a little bit of paranoia starts kicking in. Because you're aware, others may not be, that fear used to just really control me. So I would start like hearing sounds and being like, oh my gosh, is someone in the house? There's no way they could have been. Everything's locked, you know? And it's like if when I start having those feelings, or I'm getting the headaches,
Mhm.
um, maybe I might be a little irritable to myself when I mess up. Like you were saying, having the patience with yourself. And I'm guessing that you probably have a lot of patience when it comes to your kids, but not as much for you.
Mhm.
Um, and then like cramps, food just not digesting as well.
Mhm.
So very physical
Yeah.
symptoms that would, other than the slight, oh, what's happening? I'm very physical for knowing that okay, I'm getting a little stressed. I might be getting a little overwhelmed. I need to take things and just calm down for a bit.
Yeah.
Um, and one of the things that I saw online that is so true, and I definitely understand this, is if you don't make time for your wellness, you'll be forced to make time for your illness. And
Yes.
that's what I thought of when you were talking about that.
That's true. I love that. I love that. That's true. Um,
Mhm.
and like mine is very similar, like, because I won't realize I'm stressed out right away, but I'll just start being really tired, um,
Mhm.
and irritable. And like you said, I have a lot of patience with my children, but then
Mhm.
I won't. It'll just be like little things that start to
Mhm.
frustrate me. Um, and I get brain fog. Is that so? I feel like I'll be working, but I'm like not really connecting with what I'm doing. And I'll have to keep redoing a task or, and
Me too.
and it's just like, okay, what's going on here? And then so I have, like you were saying, the paranoia. Mine is like I start feeling like I'm running out of time.
Mhm.
What am I running out of time for? I have no idea. I'm just running out of time. It's just this of like time is running out, and I'm like, okay, that is a big indicator for me that I have taken on either too much or I need to journal it, because sometimes it's just something that I've thought about or a bill that's coming up, or it's just things like, I've got the air conditioner went out in my car, so I have to get that fixed. And so sometimes
Mhm.
from a conscious standpoint, you're like, okay, this has got to be done, no big deal. But subconsciously, your mind is like in panic mode. Like your body is like, oh no, So even, just taking that time to journal about it, take some time to meditate. Like, um, sometimes it's good to meditate, not just like, oh, the quote unquote positive stuff. Like,
Mhm.
oh, I just may meditate on peace or meditate on love. But sometimes we need to meditate to understand what's going on inside of us.
Mhm.
So meditate, please bring to the forefront what is bothering me. Um, please bring to the forefront what I need to work on right now or what I need to let go of right now. And then that way you're giving yourself permission and your brain permission to allow you to consciously be aware of what's bothering you, because otherwise it just comes out in your body and you're just like, what's happening? I have no control right now.
Please bring to the forefront. I like that. I'm gonna have to add that in here. And
Yeah.
I feel like that's something we've talked about every time we've gotten together is just having self-awareness, because like you said, if you don't realize you're stressed, you're going to start seeing it come out in other areas, whether it's physically or getting upset with your children.
Yeah.
But if you have that awareness to be like, huh, something's not quite right. What is that?
Yeah.
Or what can I do um, to relieve myself of that?
Yes.
That was that was a very good share.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, because sometimes, it's hard with all the stuff that we have to do, you
Mhm.
know, on a daily basis. Hold on one second.
Yeah, no problem.
My dear
Sounds like
sister,
jazz.
bring this sister.
Roshana, yay!
Okay.
Hi,
It was
Roshana. Thanks for joining us.
hi. I don't see the comments from here, but hello.
Yeah, it just popped up for me. Apparently, it was 13 minutes ago, but I got it. So thank you.
Now I totally forgot what I was saying, but that's okay.
We were talking about like meditation, not necessarily on the positive stuff, but what
Oh,
you need to work on, what's stressing you out. And
yeah.
yay, I remembered.
Yeah, because I think just self-awareness, like just even being aware of something is important. And part of our biology in our brain is to protect us. And so if it's stressful, it wants to hide those things from us. But, you know, it wants us to just kind of like have tunnel vision and focus on, whatever else we can focus on. But when we don't know that we're being stressed out by a certain thing or an idea, or then that tunnel vision, we start to focus, like for me, it can be overeating. Um,
Mhm.
or like the opposite of restful sleeping, where I'm sleeping too much, or I'm binge watching, I don't know, stuff. And, I'm not even really interested in what I'm watching. I'm just watching it because my mind is trying to find a way to
Mhm.
block out what needs to be focused on. So, um, it's really important for us to do that because we kind of have to help our brains in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, would you say that it's important to just kind of turn off once in a while and then maybe come back to it? So we're not just always in kind of like deep thought and just like, okay, we gotta figure this out. We gotta go deep into the logic and the psyche.
Right. No, yeah, I think it's great just sometimes just to be in those moments where we are in a moment of beauty, or just like, so like that's like when I go out hiking and
Mhm.
I'm out there, for a couple of hours, and I'm just there. I'm just looking at trees and animals if there's animals, or bugs, and or I'll stop by a stream and just watch the water go over the rocks. And those are moments of meditation as well, but it's different.
Mhm.
It's just like being in that moment, and that brown noise that really helps to knock down those cortisol levels and bring up your serotonin levels and your dopamine and all the good things in a natural way for your body. Um, so yeah, it is definitely perfect. I mean, I even like painting. Sometimes just painting one color is enough. That just
Yeah.
helps you de-stress because you're just sitting there working on the strokes and looking at the color, and you're not really thinking about anything. You're not trying to make something new or make it look a certain way. You're just painting. Children love do that all the time,
Mhm.
and they're so
I'd
good
like
at
to do
it.
that.
That's right, you color.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like that.
I think,
So,
yeah. In
and
meditation, it could be a little bit harder without a focal point, I think,
yeah.
to just be. I mean, but there are people that can do it.
Mhm. Yeah, that was something that someone else in the group was telling me how important it is just to sit in silence without a guided meditation because I
Mhm,
usually rely on the guided meditation. So
mhm.
I've tried that a couple of times now and it is helpful. And in a way, I kind of think it's also doing what you were talking about with the bring forth. Um, because just so many things pop in at that time. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, the mindfulness. So like watching the water over the rock. So in a way, like that mindfulness is helping produce those good happy chemicals.
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, let's see. I think we covered. I'm looking at my notes. I think I covered everything that I had looked up and thought about as far as like de-stressing.
Yeah.
Trying to think if there's any other way, um, just to do things that are positive.
Mhm.
Um, some people, I'm, not a proponent of getting stressed and then trying to do things that are detrimental, So I mentioned overeating, but then there's also, um, indulging alcohol, like overindulging, or um, going out and partying, and just doing things that feel at the moment like that moment of gratitude, but are not long lasting. Things
Hmm.
that actually then are counterproductive to ourselves. Um, you know, so for instance, sometimes if I know I've got a lot of work to do at work, um, instead of sleeping in, I'll wake up earlier so that I can get my walk in, even if it's just on my treadmill, and get in a workout, even if it's only 10 or 15 minutes, and have 5 minutes to do, like you were saying, just sit down in silence where nobody else is up in the house, nobody's demanding anything of me, and just have those
Hmm.
5 minutes, then get started. And so it might seem, oh, well, why are you getting up earlier? But I need that time, and then it makes my day go smoother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you mentioned that, it made me think of, because like first of all, you're a mom, so it's got to be harder to get those moments. And second, it made me think of how I'm seeing this cognitive behavioral therapy insomnia psychologist. Wow, that's a long title. And we're working on, going to bed later, waking up earlier, and having a wind down time at night, which I used to like almost always do. And then for a while, I was just doing work,
Mhm.
homework, dinner, homework, bed. And I was guilty of not having that wind down time. So she's like, yeah, I asked her, I was like, I want to have like a morning routine again. I used to do like the morning pages, or I'd go and work out, which,
Mhm.
whew, hard to do that right now. And how it's just nice to have that. She's like, well, let's focus on getting you sleeping more consistently. And then maybe we'll work on trying to have a morning routine again.
Right.
So just you talking about like getting up earlier and having those 5 minutes to yourself,
Mhm.
that really resonated with
Yeah.
me. And something else came to mind, and it just went out the window.
All right.
This is what it's been like when you were talking about like having to do something over and over. That day I went out with Ashley, when we came home, like when we were talking, I was having an easier time speaking with her and keeping up with the conversation. I think it might have been like just less stimulation, because
Mhm.
we weren't surrounded by people and the outdoor sounds and the live music. Um, and I'm losing it again. My apologies.
Okay.
Oh, goodness gracious. This has been challenging. Okay, yes. So that day I came home and I was trying to get through a chapter so I could do like my discussion post or whatever, start a paper. I don't even recall. But I was finding myself reading every paragraph 3 times. So I was like, okay, I need to take a break. I came back
Yeah.
to it. I still just wasn't comprehending. I'm like, I need to just write this night off.
That's right. We're done.
Well, yeah.
And I've done that too. I've done that before. I'm like, okay, I know it's only 4 o'clock, but I cannot do anything else today because I'm not doing it right. I keep hitting the wrong buttons, and yeah, sometimes the answer is to just do nothing.
Yeah, to take a break, to turn it off.
Yep.
Well,
Um,
thanks so much, Janae. I think I've said everything that I wanted to as well. And as always, it's fun getting together. And
yes.
this went fairly smoothly, I think.
Yeah, we did with both of our tired brains.
Yes, yes.
So, all right. Well, you have a great afternoon, and
Thank you.
everyone.
I hope you and everyone has a great afternoon too, and stay inspired.
And do something that makes you stronger every day.
Bye.
Bye.